is I want to see my ideal self instead of what I'm previously seeing, instead of what that triggers in me. I'd rather see my ideal self that has the qualities that can handle that easily. And yeah, so you can see how many different processes. You know, change personal history was another one that wasn't mentioned. 4, maybe 5 or 6 different processes could be used for the same structure. It's all a matter of how you think about it and how you set it up. Okay? All right. Any questions? So, let's see. We have about 15 minutes. So I think what we're going to do next... I'm trying to think if I should even begin the demonstration. I think we should do that after lunch. So what I'm going to do after lunch, first thing when we get back, is demonstrate the whole outcome elicitation process. Getting the outcome, getting clear about the present state and the desired state, so you can see that happening. And then I'll choose an intervention that I think would be most appropriate to the structure that I'm seeing, and I'll explain why I see that. And then you guys will go and do the whole process. Okay? So let's map it out a little bit, how it's going to look. Once you get done with this part of it, so you've come to a decision, and you've said, all right, I think I'm going to do this process because it matches best with what I see. Then you're going to call over a coach. Okay? You are not going to proceed with the intervention until a coach comes over and agrees with you. So what they're going to do is they're going to ask you some questions about what you found out about the present state, what you found out about the desired state, what the well-formed outcome is. They might prompt you to find out a little bit more information. They might say, did you ask about this or did you ask about that? So it's not really a test. It's just an opportunity to really find out what you found out, what you're clear about. So I suggest that you take notes. And I suggest that you keep the notes clear about what's the present state and what's the desired state. Keep those separated so you can keep yourself clear, because that's what they're going to ask you about. And then you're going to say, here's how I think the intervention that I chose, here's how I think it'll work. You're going to do your best to explain why you think the technique that you chose is best suited for this situation. Okay? If the coach agrees with you, says, great, go for it. Then you go ahead and do the intervention. If not, you might have to gather some more information, or they might suggest something else. What about this structure? Did you notice this about that? You think there could be something going on here? So we're going to just try and prompt you in discovering more about it. Okay? You'll also have your meta-person there with you. Just a reminder, what's the purpose of the meta-person?
Observe and report.
Observe and?
Report. Feedback.
Feedback. Report. Okay. What about encouragement? Like the geese. Right? Helping the guide to stay in a resourceful place. I mean, I think that's more important than anything. Is to use the meta-person as somebody who's supporting my process, that I can go to and go, you know, I'm getting a little stuck here, and let's converse a second about where I am and what I'm doing. And they can just be somebody who can bounce that back to you, not tell you what to do. Right? We don't like people telling us what to do. At least most of us don't. Is that true? Yeah. But to just be there as a support. All right, what do you need to do to get resourceful? Where do you need to focus? What step are you on? Just kind of helping us to stay focused. Okay? You can even establish an anchor with that person. You know, what resource anchor would you like? Just a little touch on the shoulder reminds you to be more engaged, to sit up, to be curious, to focus, whatever you want. Use the meta-person in that way. It can be really helpful. Okay? Questions? Okay. When I do the demonstration this afternoon, I'm going to just do it from all my experience. I'm not going to go through any steps. Okay? So what I want you to do And I'll remind you of this after lunch. I want you to track as best you can what I'm doing. So listen to my language, pay attention to my body posture. Notice if I touch the person or if I don't touch the person. Notice our breathing patterns. Whatever you can pick up. Be as engaged as you can in really watching the experience and modeling it for yourself. Modeling the pieces that you like about it. Okay? Making note of questions that I asked that brought out more information, things like that. You can even write them down if you hear certain language patterns that you like or whatever. Okay? All right. Anybody feel nervous going into this? No? A little bit there? Anybody else? No. Ready for it? No problem.
Sure, yeah. There's reservations. Only because of the massive amount of material that we've been exposed to.
Massive amount of material.
Yeah, it's a different thing than if it to have to actually define what the technique is that you're going to use, which I can understand the purpose in. I think that's definitely the way to go. But to be able to go, is this swish? Is this the third person? You're just going to have a lot.
Yeah.
And I don't expect initially to do it
You don't expect to do it
effectively.
effectively.
But I think there's a natural amount of information that we've gotten and flexibility that we've gotten that maybe if we can't define what the process is, I think we know where we're supposed to be trying to go with it.
Yeah. So some useful frames around this. This is, really the first exploration in taking all that you've gotten and beginning to put it together.
Putting all the pieces together.
Bring them together. And so, again, if you have the expectation that you're going to do it perfectly, right, it's probably not a useful expectation. If you're going to use your notes, if you're going to do your best to engage in the process, if you're going to ask the coach questions, if you're going to use your meta person, you're really bringing in all the tools that make this the most possible. And I think there's also some discovery to happen, that you're going to discover how much you really do know. And I want you to pay more attention to that than what you don't know. Yeah? Because you've learned a lot here. And this is the beginning of beginning to see that and to appreciate yourselves for all that you've learned. Because imagine coming in day one and we said, okay, we're going to start with this. We're going to do a complete piece of work on day one. I'm going to demonstrate it and then you're going to go do it. How's that sound? Really scary, right? I mean, what would you be able to even notice? You wouldn't have any filters for seeing anything happen. You wouldn't know what to write down. You wouldn't even know what I was doing, right? You wouldn't see any sequence or any process. You wouldn't see any structure. You'd listen for content. You'd be intrigued by the story. You'd want to give advice. Well, we've trained a lot of that out of you, so to speak, right? You're not so interested in the content anymore. You're more interested in listening for the structure. You know that there's a sequence that's happening. You know that there's language patterns that are going on. The meta models being used. Outcome frames being used. That there are interventions that are possible to actually make this change happen. That's the thing that I loved about it. In psychology, they never gave me any tools to help somebody make a change. They gave me a lot of theory about how people were broken, how they were abnormal. And if you take abnormal psychology, we learned a lot about all the things that were wrong, but not a lot of technique about how to fix any of it, how to change any of it, how to make it possible to make a change. And just in practitioner, just in, how many days have you been here? 15 days so far? You've only been 15 so far? 15 days.
15 working days, yeah.
15 working days. You're going to find out this afternoon how much you have. So you can look forward to that. All right. Ready for some lunch? Yes. We'll see you after lunch. Hour and a half.